Right, let's take you here now. Deputy President David Mabuza, in his capacity as Chairperson of the Human Resource Development Council, is addressing a meeting of the council at the Sedibeng TVET College in Vereeniging. Let's take you there now.
Colleges have strategic partnerships with industry players across all economic sectors. This will enable experiential learning, placement, entrepreneurship development and employment opportunities for all our students that are produced in this college system. We must address the socio-economic challenges that we are facing in order to ensure sustainable livelihoods and social cohesion. Stats SA says the country's unemployment rate stands at 33.9% in the second quarter of the year, with almost 12.3 million of our people who are jobless. Most concerning is that 35.7% of youth between the ages of 15 and 24 are classified as not in employment, not in education, and not in training. The story that this statistics depicts is very concerning, as we note that 39.3% of black women are unemployed and therefore vulnerable. In part, our ability to reverse rising levels of unemployment and poverty depends on our progress in delivering training and skills development programs that will address the challenges of the moment. Apart from this, in the schooling and training system, the reality is that we have an unsustainable high number of young people who are unemployed. Something drastic needs to happen. Therefore, as a council, we need to put measures in place to ensure that those who have lost employment and learning opportunities are able to bounce back through a package of skills development interventions that will create viable options in their life. What the COVID-19 pandemic has taught us is that certain jobs may not come back as we know them. Therefore, we need to work with industry to design targeted skills programs that will facilitate the absorption of young people into entrepreneurship and employment. Many a time, we keep deliberating on our challenges, and we also make undertaking to change course, but very little is done to implement all the good resolutions that we take to change the situation. You'll remember that we had the Council Summit, and in that summit we took a number of resolutions that are aimed to change our fortunes. I think this meeting should reflect on the progress we have made, bearing in mind the dire state of our economy and the hardships that are an outcome of unemployment, poverty, and inequality. To this end, we must, as Council, finalize our program of action today. Reflect on whether the work of this Council will produce the necessary skills that are appropriate for our citizens to thrive in the era of the fourth industrial revolution. Reflect on how the Council develops targeted and progressive delivery of key outcomes that can be measured over the term of the existence of this Council. Instead of trying to do everything at once, we should reflect on how we prioritize and select a portfolio of interrelated national high-impact interventions or projects to deliver tangible results for our country. More critically, we need to be clear about how we mobilize the requisite financial resources from government and the private sector to jointly drive these initiatives. How do we ensure that the human resource development strategy responds to the current job seekers and those pursuing entrepreneurship? Therefore, the program of action should lead to the realization of a better environment for learning and training. With proper education and training, we can move forward as a country. Equally so, we cannot move our country forward if we do not urgently intervene to address the challenges that are facing our basic education sector. As a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen the unfortunate increase in schools dropouts, the fact that approximately 750,000 students did not return to school due to the pandemic should be of great concern to all of us as the Council. This increasing dropouts rates compound the already high number of people that are not in education, they are not in any employment or training. Furthermore, COVID-19 has highlighted the issue of the digital divide in our society. While other schools in affluent areas were able to continue learning during COVID-19, those who have no access to ICT have been disadvantaged, thus lagging behind. Hence our call for the mobilization of the requisite resources from government and the private sector to jointly drive these initiatives. In line with the vision of our National Digital and Future Skills Strategy, let us ensure that the South African community becomes digitally adaptive and to ensure digital inclusivity for future generations. This will be possible if we establish an education and skills development ecosystem that provides South Africans with the required skills to create and participate in the digital economy. We must bridge the digital inequality gap in our country, especially amongst unskilled and low-income citizens, amongst whom women and girl children represent the majority. If we are to win the war against poverty, we must find ways to keep our children in school so that they can gain the necessary knowledge and skills to be active participants in our economy. The Council must continue to reverberate the message that says education is the only way that we are going to transform our society. It unlocks doors to greener pastures, and it locks doors to crime, substance abuse, and many ailments that are negatively affecting our communities. With the time that we have remaining for our term as members of this council, let us recognize our collective responsibility as partners to work more diligently towards realization of the goals as outlined in our strategy, and we are not going to fail our people. Thank you very much, members of council. That was a way of welcoming you. I take it that the principal is here. Yes, and is going to welcome us in this beautiful college with beautiful learners. We are quite excited about what we've seen. Principal, thank you.
Good morning and welcome to Sedibeng TVET College. It is our pleasure to welcome you here. We are really excited. Even though I can mention that you did put us under a lot of stress. But we are happy that we are here. DP, allow me to say protocol observed.
Right, that's Deputy President David Mabuza in his capacity as Chairperson of the Human Resource Development Council. Basically, just speaking about taking stock, Naledi, of the progress made since the 4th HRDC Summit in August last year, as well as to discuss the Council's performance in implementing its mandate. So some interesting points coming out there from him.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, it's important work. Essentially, we're still dealing with high levels of unemployment and young people that we put in the NEET bracket that are not in any sort of employment or any sort of training. So I'm highlighting really just how much work still needs to be done.